Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the hierarchy of quadrilaterals. What a hierarchy is, it's an organizational structure with several levels. It's kind of like a family tree, and I like looking at family trees. For an example here today, what I have just a quick hierarchy of the executive branch of the United States government. The guy in charge at the top level, he's the president, followed by the vice president, and then his cabinet level secretaries, the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and then the Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Education. There's other departments too with heads of each department that are secretaries, but I just grabbed a couple. And then under like the Secretary of Defense, you have the Secretary of the Navy, Secretary of the Army, and Secretary of the Air Force. This is a hierarchy because the person further down the level has less authority than the people above it, okay? People above them generally are in charge, so it literally goes Secretary of the Navy, the Secretary of Defense, the Vice President to the President, okay? Kind of like your family tree would be you, then your parents, and then your grandparents, and then your grandparents, okay? Now, when we talk about quadrilaterals, we're talking about a couple categories of polygons. First of all, we know quadrilaterals are four-sided polygons. They use the word quad, meaning four. Then we have parallelograms, which are quadrilaterals that have at least two sets of parallel sides, meaning all four sides are parallel to another side. Two here, two here. Then we have trapezoids. Trapezoids are quadrilaterals with four sides, but they only have one set of parallel sides. It's like if you cut a stop sign in half. We have rectangles, common parallelogram, and that's a parallelogram with four 90-degree angles. You already knew that though. Then we have rhombuses. A rhombus is a parallelogram with four congruent sides, meaning all four sides have the exact same length. Bam. It's not a diamond. Squares are parallelograms that have all the properties of a rectangle and all the properties of a rhombus. So this is kind of what the hierarchy of quadrilaterals looks like. And the big thing to remember is that each level of quadrilateral has all of the properties of the level above it. So the top dog is quadrilateral. He's like the granddaddy of them all. All right? And he spawns parallelogram and trapezoids. Now, these two do not have anything in common except that they are four-sided polygons like the quadrilateral. Two sets of parallel sides, one set of parallel sides. Now, you'll notice that it kind of ends at trapezoid. But parallelograms go on to have rectangles and rhombuses. Now, both rectangles and rhombuses are parallelograms. That's a hard word to say. And they all are quadrilaterals. They have all of the properties up to that point. Rectangles have four 90-degree angles. Rhombuses have four equal sides. They don't have to have 90-degree angles. But then the last, like the bottom of the totem pole in the quadrilateral hierarchy is the square. The square has all of the properties of everything above it because we know squares can be rectangles and we know squares can be rhombuses because squares have four congruent sides and squares have four 90-degree angles. Squares have two sets of parallel sides and squares are a four-sided polygon. Squares have nothing in common with the trapezoid except that they're a four-sided polygon. All the same properties from the bottom straight to the top. It's a hierarchy of a parallelogram.